It is 7 o'clock straight up. Good morning. I'm Sam Shane.
I'm Christina Mendoza. Taxpayer-funded 0% interest home loans for illegal immigrants in California. The new bill at the state capitol.
A stunning admission from Mark Zuckerberg, how he says the Biden-Harris administration pressured Meta to censor Americans.
And will there be a peaceful transfer of power after the next election? Attorney General Merrick Garland answers that question in our featured audio clip this hour. Let's get outside into traffic now. Roy Lamella joins us.
Got some heavy traffic getting into Rio Vista on westbound 12. We start to see brake lights at Terminus Road and continue stop and go to just before Jackson Slough Road. Traffic on the 10s every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons. Roy Lamella, KFBK News Radio, 93.1 FM, 1530 AM.
Sunshine, it'll be a hot one today. The high 96 to 100. Clear tonight, a low of 60 to 64. And then sunny and hot tomorrow, the high 98 to 102. Sunny and hot Thursday, the high 96 to 100. I'm AccuWeather Steve Williams on KFBK, Sacramento's News Radio.
Currently 45 degrees in South Lake Tahoe, 61 degrees in Roseville.
Lawmakers in the state assembly considering a bill to expand a new government-sponsored home buying program to include 0% interest loans for illegal immigrants to buy a home in California. It's called the California Dream for All Act. It would give up to $150,000 taxpayer dollars to non-citizens in the form of a loan to buy a home. The bill is sponsored by Assemblyman Dr. Joaquin Arambula, Democrat from Fresno.
The social and economic benefits of homeownership should be accessible to everyone, regardless of immigration status.
The bill is sponsored by a Latino rights group with close ties to Kamala Harris. Here's what Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones, Republican, told Fox Business.
What the rest of the America needs to be worried about is the Kamala Harris-Walz administration taking these crazy California ideas and nationalizing them and taking them to the rest of the country. The country can't afford to buy illegal immigrants' homes.
The bill has already passed the Senate. It is moving through the Assembly. Governor Newsom has been silent on whether or not he would sign it. A well-known housing expert calls the loan program absurd, especially as many young Americans who are here as citizens are struggling to buy a home.
Former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard has endorsed former President Trump at a campaign event in Michigan for veterans.
I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work.
Gabbard left the Democrat Party in 2022, I should say. She was recently been advising President Trump during his preparations to debate Vice President Kamala Harris.
A counter-sniper working the Trump event in Pennsylvania has criticized how the FBI handled evidence after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Ben Schaefer told lawmakers that the crime scene was scrubbed too quickly, and the body of the would-be assassin Thomas Crooks was disposed of before an official autopsy could be released.
I think that we're understanding that we've investigated the culture of the Secret Service and what needs to change, but I think that we need to further investigate why did this take place, how did this take place, and what do we do to prevent it in the future and moving forward.
5 House Republicans hosted the panel discussion with Schaefer and other witnesses.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, in a letter to the House Judiciary Committee, has admitted the Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans. Karen Curtis reports.
In the letter to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Representative Jim Jordan, Zuckerberg wrote that senior Biden administration officials, including the White House, repeatedly pressured Meta to censor content related to COVID-19, and he admitted it was wrong to block the coverage of Hunter Biden's infamous laptop. Zuckerberg says he regrets complying with certain demands and assured Jordan that Meta has put policies in place to ensure this doesn't happen again. Karen Curtis, Miami.
It was a contentious end to a homeless camp in Sacramento as city crews moved in to tear it down. As KFBK's Jennifer Steele reports, some who were living in Camp Resolution refused to leave.
The eviction is due to a lease agreement with the city expiring on August 25th. Those in the encampment had to be out by the 26th. Officers closed off Colfax Street in North Sacramento and faced hostility as some people were unwilling to move. Crews had to remove barbed wire and propane tanks that people put up hours earlier to block the entrance of the camp. People were reportedly taken out of the camp in handcuffs, and crews hauling away material from the site could be seen driving trailers off the property. Jennifer Steele, KFBK, Sacramento's News Radio.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland says all of the convictions his Justice Department has won against January 6 protesters is evidence that the Justice Department will do everything in its power to make sure that there is a peaceful transfer of power after the next election. Here's what he recently told reporters. It is our featured audio clip this hour.
The last January 6th, the coming January 6th, and every January 6th after that. I want to make clear to anybody who is thinking about interfering with that, they can see what we've done with respect to the January 6th prosecutions, and the Justice Department will continue to protect our democracy.
They'll protect our democracy.
It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like, no matter who's elected. I mean, we had, of course, January 6th after the last election. And then when Trump was elected, you saw also
Antifa.
And riots in the streets and fires. And
after George Floyd.
Yeah.
So the number of Antifa protesters from both the George Floyd and after
Well,
after
not just
Trump.
George Floyd. I'm talking right after Trump was elected.
No. What I'm saying is combine those two events.
Yeah.
Take Floyd and take after Trump wins. The number of Antifa protesters who were sentenced and sent to jail is minuscule compared to the number who have been sent to jail as a result of January 6th.
Right. In fact, they were bailed out.
700. This is January 6th. 718 individuals have pleaded guilty to a variety of federal charges, approximately 213 to felonies, another 505 pleaded guilty to misdemeanors. And that was as of January 5th of this year.
Yeah.
We've had more since.
Yes. Oh, yes. Definitely.
They've aggressively gone after the January 6th protesters and hardly gone after Antifa.
Using laws that are now being questioned as to whether they should be applied.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see. I mean, if Trump wins, we'll see if he's as even-handed as he was with January 6th, or claims to have been.
Kamala Harris is now pledging a wall on the southern border.
No.
Yes. Axios reporting this morning that Kamala Harris has said if she's elected, she has pledged to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a wall on the southern border. A project that she once called un-American during the Trump administration.
Do you recall, has there ever been a bigger flip-flopper than her? So she's now for fracking, right? She was against that.
Yeah.
She's now for no taxes on tips.
Right.
She was against that.
Right.
She is now for private health insurance. She was against that.
Right.
And now she's for a wall.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's working. She's ahead in the polls.
Well, some polls.
It's working.
Some polls. Oh, what is happening?
Yes.
What is happening?
So that one is out of Axios.
Kamala Harris on a Tuesday morning, August 27th.
Says there will be a wall.
A wall.
She's going to build a wall.
Here are your top global and national stories. KFBK News Radio live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Another hostage has been freed from Gaza. The Israeli military says it carried out a rescue operation, saving an Arab Israeli who was kidnapped on October 7th. ABC's Britt Clennett has more from Tel Aviv.
There are 108 hostages left. It's just not clear how many of them have died already. Just last week, there was news that 6 bodies were recovered by the IDF from Gaza. So, the hostage families that we speak to are disparaged. They're frustrated.
The head of Ukraine's army says the country's troops have gained control of nearly 500 square miles into Russian territory. That since their surprise incursion began 3 weeks ago. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitting that Facebook was under pressure during the pandemic to censor what information was put up on the site. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy in Washington.
In a letter to congressional Republicans, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg says the Biden White House, quote, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire. Whenever the company might refuse to do so, Zuckerberg says administration officials expressed a lot of frustration. I believe the government pressure was wrong, Zuckerberg writes, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it.
The White House says it encouraged responsible actions to protect public health during the pandemic. A scorcher, extreme heat blanketing a big chunk of the U.S. ABC's Alex Perez is in normally cool Chicago.
At least 70 million Americans are under heat alerts with feel-like temperatures over 100 in some spots. Outdoor sports and other activities for Chicago public schools have been canceled because of the heat, as authorities warn people to hydrate, stay cool, and take this heat seriously.
The Paralympic Games are beginning in Paris. Some 4,400 athletes with disabilities, permanent injuries, or impairments are competing for 549 medals. You're listening to ABC News.
Quickly before we get to traffic, I've got this. Quentin Tarantino, the director, right?
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Did an interview with Bill Maher on his podcast and talked about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And Quentin Tarantino is just fine with Kamala Harris not doing any interviews, going in the basement.
Oh,
That's
lots of
fine.
people are. Yeah.
Because he said this is all about effing winning.
Yes.
His response, he was unhinged. It is so filled with the F-bomb.
Yeah, you couldn't even pull a bite.
I tried to pull the bite.
There
and
are
it
no
would have
beeps.
It would have been one big bleep.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarantino's just lost his mind on this.
I mean, this is a tack that is working for her. She is ahead in the polls, so it has worked. And there are people who aren't as F-bomb laden as Quentin Tarantino says. Yes, this is a good plan. This is a good strategy.
He says, I don't care. She has to win.
Yeah.
And that's not the way he said it, by the way, the Pulp Fiction director.
Let's get outside and check traffic, see how things are moving along with Royal Mellow.
This report sponsored by the Roseville Auto Mall. Right now, traffic a little congested coming in from Roseville on westbound 80. You'll start to see it bogged down a little bit at Douglas Boulevard. It continues and stretches all the way down towards Madison Avenue. An 18-minute ride from Roseville to the split. Also a little congested on the right lane as you're making way towards the Camp City Freeway split. And on the Camp City Freeway from the split to downtown, you're looking at a 12-minute drive. Just a little sluggish right around the beginning of the split to Watt Avenue. After that, clears up really nicely down towards 50. Northbound 5, you're looking at a 13-minute ride with no delays coming up from Elk Grove, but a little slower on northbound 99. Elk Grove to downtown, a 21-minute drive as it starts to bog down right around Mack Road. It continues up towards 12th Avenue. Westbound 50, as you're making way in from Folsom, a 20-minute ride starts to slow just before Watt Avenue. It continues to Howe Avenue. Nothing too heavy, just crowded in that stretch. Once again, 20 minutes from Folsom to downtown. Southbound 5 coming down from Woodland, a 17-minute ride as you start to get a little sluggish after Richards Boulevard down towards Highway 50. Southbound 5, 17 minutes once again from Woodland. And eastbound 80 coming in from Davis, now a 15-minute ride. This Labor Day, head to the Roseville Auto Mall for their biggest sale of the year. That's the only place where you'll choose from 20 top brands. Brought to you by 17 award-winning dealers. The giant Labor Day sale at the Roseville Auto Mall, where selection, savings, and satisfaction meet. Traffic on the 10s every 10 minutes, mornings and afternoons. Roy LaMilla, KFBK News Radio, 93.1 FM, 1530 AM.
Here's a look at your 3-day forecast. The high in the valley today, 98 degrees. Upper 90s for the next 3 days, by the way. Tomorrow's high 99 and Thursday's high 98, and that's your 3-day outlook.
This is news from your neighborhood from the Placer Sentinel, and the federal government is hiring. There is a job career fair today at William Jessup University in Rockland from 3 until 7 p.m. There are over 20 federal agencies that are looking to hire, including the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Transportation Security Administration, IRS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. So take your resume again. And you can actually, Kevin Kiley's office is sponsoring a portion of this, so you can sign up for an appointment there. But there is a job fair today at William Jessup University, 3 to 7 p.m.
Social media is on fire, apparently, over a clip from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, vice presidential candidate, claiming there is, quote, no guarantee to freedom of speech. You know what I want to do? We've got that poll, and I want to load that. Maybe we can get in at the bottom of this hour.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'd like to try to get that in.
Let people hear exactly what he said.
Yep, he said that on MSNBC.
All right. Coming up, we're going to chat about returning to the office and how not only is it a wish of maybe some CEOs, but maybe by doing that, they think they can weed out some people they would rather not return to work at all.
So you're saying they don't want you back, they want you to quit.
They want you gone.
I'll be darned.
The fast-moving blaze can hit with little or no warning. Wildfires are moving. Updates immediately.
Plan your evacuation route.
Continuing wildfire coverage.
Let everyone know what's happening
on KFBK News Radio, a service of the Salvation Army. Donate today at NorCalFireRelief.org.
All right, here's hoping your summer has been all you've been hoping for. Hopefully you have felt good on your hikes, on your morning runs, on your evening walks. Christina here from my friends at the Good Feet store. That's not the case for a lot of people when they have problems with plantar fasciitis or maybe just a problem with their feet or hips or knees. It has been a nonstop summer for me, whether it's a hike near Sly Park or just running through my Folsom neighborhood. And the reason why I'm so comfortable these days is I love my Good Feet arch support system. I wear it all the time, especially when I pair it with the OS First Performance Socks. And I'm going to tell you more about getting your free socks in a moment. But if you have pain in your feet, knees, back, or hips, The only way to know if the Good Feet arch support system will work for you is to give it a try. And you can do that for free by visiting the Good Feet store for your fitting and test walk. And right now, you will also receive a pair of the OS First Performance socks for free. Normally, these